Hey everybody, this is Daniel Ducote. I'm running for the State Senate District 11. As you probably know, we have an election tomorrow. It's a big election with everything: governor, Senate, sheriff, state house, things like that. I basically just wanted to kind of give a closing argument, kind of offer my final thoughts on, what my campaign's offering, why I think our campaign is the best one for folks to vote for tomorrow. In case anybody's still undecided, I know a lot of people, I think about 40% of the district usually votes early, and so, a lot of people are already voted. Basically, the reason I even ran this time around, a lot of people say I'm a little bit young for, such a high office, but, the reason I ran this time around, I just graduated from college back in May, but I really wanted to, pursue this office because, basically, I mean, I'm sure anybody who follows politics knows that our state really, our government really is quite frankly in disaster. We got the tribal lawyer lobby that basically just controls all our politicians. Even some of the more popular politicians, even some politicians who I'm a pretty big fan of. I'm not going to name names right now, but I'm sure a lot of you know who takes a lot of money from the tribal lawyers. Some of the people in our federal government right now. So basically, you have these lobbyists, and they basically have a hold on all our politicians. And I really just, I think the only way we can ever move forward as a state is to, break the lobbyist hold on all of us, and to get rid of all these corrupt politicians, and just get regular people who want to listen to their constituents in office. And that's basically the reason I ran, because we just need to start fixing things. We need people who actually have solutions. We don't want somebody who just, oh, vote for me, and I'll just go into the Senate. I'll just be a generic vote. Maybe some of my votes will be good, some will be bad for 4 years, and then get reelected. I think we need somebody who has actual real solutions, real ideas to offer people, and that's basically why I ran. Because we're not basically. I know if you see my Twitter page, you've probably seen I have the picture of where we're ranked nationally in education, crime and corrections, fiscal stability, employment, everything. We're always in the 40s, usually basically last nationally or second to last, third to last, but it's really not good. And so, I really think the only way to get us out of this hole is, to kind of, as a lot of people say, kind of drain the swamp of all these corrupt politicians. And so the only way we're going to do that is by electing regular people. The other two candidates in this race, some of their spending has been their own money, but they're also taking a lot of money from, PACs, lobbyists, special interests, things like that. The reason I've refused any donations from all those people is because I want you to know that, when I get into office, I'm just going to listen to you guys. I'm not going to have some lobbyist whip-makers saying, hey, you got to vote this way, or else we're not going to donate to your re-election campaign. If I win this, it's 100% because, you guys voted me in, and, then I'll be an independent voice. I'm not going to go along with what, the Republican establishment wants me to do. I'm not going to go along with the Democratic establishment. I'm going to kind of just, evaluate each issue my own. I wasn't a Republican, actually, until about, maybe a year ago. Maybe actually less than a year ago. Very recently, I've always been independent because, I'm not happy with either party. I think there are a lot of things the Republicans don't do right. And of course, there are a lot of things I'm not happy with Democrats about. But so basically, I'll be an independent voice. I'm not going to listen to lobbyists. I'm not going to listen to PACs, special interests. I'm not going to take any money from any of them. That's why you haven't seen, all my yard signs, TV ads, things like that. Because, I haven't had any of money besides my own money to spend on this race. Everything we get is, donations, free stuff. I had some of my friends helping me out, going around campaigning for me, canvassing. And so that's basically, the extent of what we've had. We've had limited resources because of this pledge I've taken. And so, you gotta take the good with the bad. But so basically, to summarize, rundown of kind of the policies I'm offering. I know we talked a lot about, the pillar of my campaign is getting rid of all state sales and income taxes. I have this 3-pronged tax code that we're going to replace, all income tax with. It's basically, one, we got the progressive property tax, which is, of course, based on the value of your land, water, things like that that you use. So, of course, the residents of this district, St. Tammany and Tangipahoa, Hill, are going to, under that tax, basically pay, next to nothing. It's going to mostly, the tax burden is going to fall on, the big corporations that, occupy a bunch of land for their business. They're going to pay most of the taxes. The other taxes, the ecological restoration fee is what I call it. Basically, it's a fee, a tax for, things that harm the environment, pollution, deforestation, and the goal of that is, to penalize corporations that, harm our environment so we can have a nice, beautiful environment. I know we have a lot of hurricanes in this area, and that is largely because of the stuff the corporations do, dumping, toxic substances in our water, things like that. It contributes to climate change, hurricanes, etc. It's a cycle, and so that's why we have that tax. And we got the third tax, the corporate liability tax. Again, it's going to go mostly to the corporations, not regular people, not the voters. And so basically, we got this three-pronged tax code. You can read about it on my website, Twitter, etc. But basically, it's going to redirect the tax burden from, you, the voters, to the corporations, the rich people who are spending all the money trying to get my opponents elected. And that's, of course, probably why they're opposing me, so vehemently. But so that's basically, that's like the pillar of my campaign, this tax plan I'm going to try to get passed. And, I'm going to really fight for it in the legislature. I'm not sure how many votes we're going to have for it, but I'm going to go around pushing people to support my plan, talking with the other legislators about it, and we're going to do the best we can to get it passed. The next thing we're offering is, this healthcare plan. As you know, ever since Obamacare, we've had premiums and deductibles going way up, and healthcare is really not affordable anymore. And so basically, this healthcare plan, I got four main pillars to this healthcare plan. One is the health benefit plans. You can research that. The Iowa legislature, they passed that, and ever since then, their healthcare premiums and deductibles went way down. But basically, what it does is it allows you to, decide what exactly you want health insurance for. It's not like a one-size-fits-all plan. You can just pick and choose. It's kind of like going to Walmart and buying the items that you want, not having to buy everything in the store. That's basically what Obamacare makes us do right now: buy everything in the store. And so with health benefit plans, you can pick and choose what you want. And so then, of course, that'll lower your premiums and deductibles by a huge amount. Then we also have of course, whatever people talk about a lot, use Medicaid to negotiate with the drug companies for lower prescription drug prices. That'll lower healthcare costs a lot. There's, of course, the government reinsurance plans, which is what we have to take care of pre-existing conditions. I know a lot of people with pre-existing conditions right now, and they're worried about, their premiums going up because they have some sort of illness. And so basically these government reinsurance plans will, somebody passed in my room. These government reinsurance plans will basically incentivize the health insurance companies to cover people with pre-existing conditions for the same price as everybody else. And, we'll tell those companies, hey, if you have trouble dealing with these costs, the government will reimburse you, take care of you. So it's kind of like our way of making sure the government takes care of people with pre-existing conditions. So we got that. And then we got, of course, working on a medical debt forgiveness plan. Of course, people ask how you're going to pay for it. We are working on that. But basically, I think if we kind of readjust our budget a little bit, cut some funding that is unnecessary for, some infrastructure projects, building all these bridges, and these, if people just walk nature trails, stuff like that. If we cut maybe a little bit of funding for that, cut a little bit of funding from higher ed that goes to overpaying the professors and the executives, things like that, I think we can basically afford to, forgive people's medical debts and make healthcare cheaper. So we're going to work on it. All of this is just a framework. It's just kind of some ideas I've offered. Of course, nothing's set in stone. I'm not going to, go take away any funny things people really like. I'm not going to go raise taxes, anything like that. But, we're going to work on it. I'm going to listen to your feedback. And, basically the point of this is to lower healthcare costs and make sure people don't have to, go bankrupt because they have medical bills. And, you don't have to sacrifice, you know, things that you enjoy in life, recreation, because you have to pay your medical bills. That's basically the point of this healthcare plan. So that's something we're offering. Of course, what everybody really likes, Democrat, Republican, Independent, is this lobbying ban. Well, it's basically a ban that'll say, anybody who works in the government, whether you're a legislator or in the executive branch, cabinet, anything like that, you can't become a lobbyist after that. And basically that will pretty much get rid of all lobbying because everybody's a lobbyist. They've had some kind of government job, before that. And so the point of this is to eventually end all lobbying because, lobbying is how these, politicians get bought. And so that's basically what's corrupting our system, which, eroding our democracy, making politicians not listen to the voters because they're listening to these lobbies, take them to dinner, and they'll say, hey, I'll give you this much money, vote this way. They give them all these gifts and all these flashy things. And that's basically what I think is the main cause of, why our democracy is so unhealthy, especially in Louisiana, these lobbyists. And so that's really going to, kind of nip that lobbying problem in the bud if we get past that. Of course, it's going to be an uphill battle because, everybody in the legislature is going to be against that because, they all take money from the lobbyists. So I'm going to be fighting with some people, of course. But, I'm fighting a good fight. It's not just picking fights for no reason. Like, we have for example, in the U.S. Congress, we got a lot of show horses. I don't want to name names, but, people on both Republican and Democrat sides who, they want to go run for president or something else. They'll go basically pick, fights just for attention in Congress that are just kind of, trivial fights that are just stupid fights. That's not what this is. If I'm picking a fight with, my other fellow legislator just because I want to get some good policy passed, and I want to fight for you guys, and so that's what this is about. That's what the lobbying ban's about. And then we also have, of course, the education reform package, which I have a lot of things I proposed. Basically, we want to focus more on trade and vocational school because I'm sure anybody's going to college recently, with a traditional public university, private university, unless you're doing like studying law school or medical school or math or science. A lot of these liberal arts majors. I majored in film and English, so I know from firsthand experience. A lot of these liberal arts majors are just pretty useless. You spend a huge amount of money. It's just insane what you spend on college tuition, and they charge fees. They charge textbooks, supplies. You got to do transportation, housing. You spend all this money in college to get this degree, this little piece of paper that says, oh, you studied Shakespeare for 4 years, and you get out of college, and then you can't really find a job with that because everybody has one. And so what we really want to do is kind of, get not as many people to go to, college to go study something, that's kind of trivial like that. Focus more on, training for your career, doing something, studying something useful, or, not going to college, maybe trade vocational school. So we're going to shift some funding from trade and vocational school, maybe cut some funding from traditional higher ed that goes to all these liberal arts programs, cut some funding for overpaid professors, shift some funding so the focus of school can be, to find your job as quickly as possible, train for your job, and then start working and contributing to our economy. And so that's what the education package is about. What we really want to do is I want to make TOPS, part of our, I'm sure people know a lot about politics know we have discretionary spending and then mandatory spending. Mandatory spending is stuff that's ingrained in the budget, no matter what, it has to be spent, and then discretionary spending is stuff like TOPS right now that sometimes legislators can vote. Like the opponent in this race, one time he voted to cut TOPS. And so what we're going to do is ingrain TOPS in the budget as mandatory spending so that we can never cut TOPS again because, we need TOPS. Also, this package is going to cap fees, for example, LSU, they charge all these fees, academic excellence, building use, like I don't even know what that is. It's just kind of these fees to, basically kind of take more of your money. And so we're going to cap those fees so that they can't go, break everybody's wallets by charging just unnecessary fees. And then we're going to make TOPS mandatory. So, basically the focus is going to be to control the cost of college. And so, yeah, that's a pretty good package that we have for education reform. We're going to cut some funding to liberal arts majors. Yeah, I talked about that. And so basically the purpose of that is going to be to help people, not have so much student loan debt, get their education, find a job, and start working as soon as possible, not spend so much time and money in college. So that's the purpose of the education reform package I'm going to work on. I think that's something we can actually really get past, because a lot of people talk about the education reform package. They talk about, wanting to give more money to education schools. So that's something we really have a good chance of passing. We also have, the job placement package, which kind of goes with the education package, but the job placement is basically we're going to have more programs to help people find jobs. We're going to start trying to place people in jobs right out of high school instead of waiting until they're in their last year of college, helping them start finding jobs. And we're going to give tax breaks to businesses that A, do business in the state and agree to hire only Louisianians, and B, businesses that hire based on actual credentials, not just your paper degree from a college, because we know some of those degrees aren't worth that much anymore. So, that'll help people who maybe can't afford college, maybe went to a 2-year university. That'll help them get a job, because they'll be able to say, hey, look, I didn't get this great degree from, Harvard or whatever, but I have this talent, I have this skill I can offer. I think that's why I'd be good for this job. And we're going to give tax credits to businesses that hire people based on credentials like that. And so that's kind of the job placement package, help people get jobs, grow our economy. But that'll really help a lot of young people and people who are struggling to find a good job right now. And then the last thing we have is the transparency bill, which is something I just kind of started working on. But basically, what it does is the purpose is to kind of fight corruption in our legislature. It's going to mandate that anybody who is in our legislature has to put on their government website that they have to list all their donors, talk about any kind of lobbyists, PAC, special interests they've been meeting with. Just basically be very transparent about who they're working with, who they're listening to, who's whispering in their ear. So okay, this legislature is listening to this guy instead of me. This legislature is taking money from these PACs, and that's who they're going to be beholden to. And so that's kind of to get rid of a lot of these corrupt politicians. I'm not going to name names, but we know we got a lot of corrupt politicians in our district. But yeah, basically, I think the reason, aside from all this, the reason that I think I'm the best candidate in this race is because I'm the only one who's talked about all these issues. The other two candidates haven't really talked, very specifically about student loan debt, healthcare, taxes. One candidate voted twice to raise taxes, once to raise the gas tax, and then once to raise the cigarette tax. He voted to ban fantasy sports. I don't agree with that. The residents of St. Tammany, I believe 65% of St. Tammany's residents voted to legalize fantasy sports, and 57% of Tangipahoa's residents went to legalize fantasy sports. So I think that's kind of out of touch with the district. I don't really see how that could be considered conservative to vote to take away people's rights like that and raise taxes. That's my main beef with him. I just think, he's kind of been corrupted by all the people who donated to his campaign, all these PACs and everything. And the other kid doesn't really have much of a record, but you just look at his history, and I really don't think he's, I don't think he's the best candidate to represent us in the Senate, to be honest, right now. I just don't. I mean, that's the whole reason I ran, because I just wasn't happy with who I thought was going to run. I knew one of the candidates was going to run. We've been talking about running for years. And so, the reason I ran is because, I want to give us a good option to vote for. I want to give us somebody who can, advocate for good policies, listen to the people, not take money from the PACs. I'm the only candidate who hasn't taken money from the PACs, the lobbyists, anything like that. I refuse to meet with any kind of lobbyist. Got a survey from some lobbyists group the other day. They asked me, to fill out this survey and tell you, what's the biggest threat facing Louisiana, etc., so we can tell all our lobbyist friends about you, And I said, I'm not filling this out. You're the biggest threat to Louisiana. These lobbyists and PACs, corrupt special interests. I'm the only candidate who's talked about all this. And so I think that's why I'm the best candidate in this race. I'm the least corrupted. I'm the most likely to listen to my constituents. I've given out my cell phone number, my email. Always, engage directly with the voters. So basically that's about it. I think I'm the best for this district. And I just really hope to win this tomorrow, or at least, get to a runoff so we can continue to talk about these issues for another few weeks. But that's about it. So yeah, just please tell anybody to vote for me tomorrow, because this campaign is it's It's about us. Like, I'm just a regular person. I'm running because, I believe in these issues. So I want to fight for us. So yeah, please vote for me. This is your campaign. Contact me, tell me what you care about. Work on legislation together, and we'll figure out a way out of this mess. But anyway, yeah, I appreciate all the support I've already gotten. I've enjoyed talking to all the different voters on Facebook in person. I've been canvassing in like Mandeville and Covington, and a little bit in Macomb and the Beta Springs, and in Madisonville, my home district. And I've talked to voters, and people like the lobbying. I've just enjoyed getting to talk to y'all about the issues. I really appreciate. I have two really good friends who have been helping me out with the canvassing, going around distributing my little cards. I didn't even buy those cards. One of my friends paid for them, and I really appreciate that because I don't have a lot of money spent this campaign, and so I just really appreciate it all. I've really enjoyed this experience. Whatever happens tomorrow, it's been a great experience, and I have appreciated this opportunity to run and try to serve you guys. And that's about it. Well, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Good luck with the election tomorrow, and good luck with Wooden Boat Festival in Madisonville this week. I might go to that Sunday after the voting and all. But all right. Well, that's about it. Have a good night. Thanks for watching, guys.